So, today we're going to talk about a new kind of weapon, one that moves at speeds that are, well, they're almost impossible. But to really get what this is all about, you have to understand that this isn't just a story about technology, it's about something much more human.
To really get to the heart of why a weapon like this even exists, we've got to look past the rocket fuel and the targeting systems. We have to follow the story to a place you might not expect.
Because you see, the story of this hypersonic missile, it doesn't start in some high-tech lab. It starts with a very old, very powerful emotion, the political fear of being completely wiped off the map.
And that fear, it wasn't just some abstract idea. It was triggered by a very real event thousands of miles away, an event that sent a shockwave straight to Pyongyang.
The timing here is absolutely everything. This missile test wasn't random. Nope, it happened less than 24 hours after the world watched Venezuelan leader Nicolas Maduro get ousted from power. For North Korea, that was no coincidence.
For most of us, maybe it was just another headline that we scrolled past. But for Kim Jong-un and his regime, watching a leader get taken out like that, well, that wasn't news. That was a horror movie, and they saw themselves as the main character. It was a terrifying glimpse into their own potential future.
So you have to see this from their perspective. This weapon isn't really for starting the war. It's what they see as an insurance policy. It's like they're trying to spray paint a giant keep out sign in the sky, in a language they believe the rest of the world has no choice but to respect.
Okay, so let's shift gears and talk about the tech itself. Because this isn't just some small upgrade. This is a weapon that completely rewrites the rulebook of modern warfare.
All right, think of a normal ballistic missile, like a long fly ball in a baseball game. It goes way up, it follows a high, predictable arc, and if you're good at math, you can figure out exactly where it's going to land and get there to catch it. A hypersonic weapon, though, it's a totally different animal. It flies low and screaming fast inside the atmosphere, and here's the kicker, it can dodge and weave mid-flight. It's not a fly ball, it's a baseball that can see the glove and swerve at the last second.
And it does all of this at speeds that are just, honestly, they're hard to even comprehend. We're talking Mach 5. That's over 6,000 kilometers an hour. At that speed, huge distances just disappear.
And this right here, this is the real problem. All those incredibly expensive, sophisticated missile defense shields that countries have spent billions on, they were all designed to catch that high, predictable flyball. They are simply not built to hit something this fast and this shifty. The shield we thought we had, well, it's starting to look like Swiss cheese.
This new physics creates a terrifying new reality, especially for the people who have to make the call. The speed of this thing has consequences you can't just measure in miles, but in the seconds ticking away inside a human brain.
I mean, just imagine you're a military commander. An alarm goes off. Launch detected. The clock starts. You have maybe 5 minutes total. In the first 90 seconds, your team is scrambling to make sure it's not a false alarm. By minute 3, you have to decide whether or not to launch a counterattack that could trigger a global catastrophe. And just 2 minutes later, it's over. Impact?
Seriously, put yourself in that chair for a second. In that tiny sliver of time, with incomplete information and the weight of millions of lives on your shoulders, what do? That's not just a strategic problem. It's a psychological pressure cooker that no human being is evolved to handle.
So we've got the fear, we've got the physics, but there's a third layer to this whole thing, and it's pure political theater. You have to understand, a missile launch like this is rarely just a test. It's a performance with a very specific audience in mind.
And again, the timing was just flawless. From their point of view, they light up the sky just a few hours before the leaders of South Korea and China are scheduled to have a major meeting. The message couldn't be any clearer. Hey guys, you cannot and you will not decide the future of this peninsula without us at the table.
And this, right here, just highlights the tragic irony of the whole situation. You've got South Korea over here, trying to build a stable future through dialogue, diplomacy, and economic partnerships. And then you have North Korea, right next door, chasing the exact same goal, stability, but through the threat of absolute total destruction. They're on two completely opposite roads, trying to get to the same city.
So what does this mean for the millions of people living with this every single day? Well, the unthinkable has basically become routine. The existential threat of a missile launch just arrives as another notification on your phone, squeezed right in between a weather update and a text from a friend. It's this bizarre state of what you could call normalized anxiety.
So, where does that leave all of us?
Well, we're entering a new era, one that's really defined by a dangerous paradox. Our technology, our ability to create threats, is just moving way, way faster than our ability to create trust.
When you strip everything else away, the politics, the tech, all of it, you land on this one really fundamental question. The whole idea of deterrence is based on the belief that fear keeps us safe. But is a peace that's built on a foundation of fear really peace at all?
Like it or not, we are in the hypersonic age now, an age where the line between an offensive weapon and a defensive one is almost totally blurred, where the old Cold War rulebook feels dangerously out of date, and where every single technological leap we make in defense is, in a way, just an admission that we failed to connect with each other as people.
And all of this leaves us with one final, deeply unsettling question. When the weapons become basically unstoppable, and the time you have to decide what to do shrinks to almost nothing, does that make war inevitable? Or does it create a level of fear so profound, so absolute, that no one would ever dare push the button? That's the paradox we're all living with now.